If your organization is relatively transparent, you can address risks related to processes or product with the right stakeholders and mitigate their effects successfully. However, it is a lot more difficult to address risks related to people in your home or client organization. How do you signal the low performance of one of your teammates, especially if it is due to carelessness or laziness rather than a lack in technical skills? How do you raise risks related to a C-level stakeholder who is not doing their job, who requires chasing for approvals, who mishandles intentionally or unintentionally certain parts of a project, even when processes are clearly documented? How do we voice the gaps between a person's thinking, words, and actions in a professional environment? We don't have facts to measure discrepancies between one's thoughts, insincere or full-on manipulative words, and unethical actions, unless the risk has already materialized. Even then, we are looking for patterns before voicing a suspicion of someone suffering of narcissistic personality disorder, for example. We would rather convince ourselves of a co-worker's innocence than acknowledge their highly manipulative streak or shaky work ethic. We would rather focus on malfunctioning of processes or product rather than voicing a risk related to a co-worker, especially if that co-worker influences our pay and promotions. Even worse, how do you address the suspicion that one of your workmates is a narcissist, acting entitled and manipulating an entire team? We are not comfortable being anywhere around the narcissistic spectrum, and even worse, why would we share this info with anyone? There are 5 strategies for dealing with risks: accept, escalate, mitigate, transfer, and avoid. These strategies can be relatively easily applied to processes or product, but they are a lot more difficult to apply to people. Do we accept that our colleague might likely have a narcissistic personality disorder, and we mitigate risks related to their manipulations as they come along? Do we escalate risks related to a coworker? Not so easy if that coworker happens to decide your salary or the next contract renewal. How do we mitigate for the presence of a person with risky behavior for a project, either because of their poor work ethic or a manipulative streak? Do we transfer a risk related to a person to their compensation reviewer? That's a common one. I sometimes use it, but it usually comes back to bite you since you raised the risk. Do we avoid the risky employee? Again, we use this strategy often, but that makes for a perfect ingredient to spoil the recipe of a team and its dynamics. This is all very tricky and highly contextual, of course, and I don't have any generic solutions. Do you have any ideas? Please share in the comments below how you deal with risky people.